Men are so simple and so much inclined to obey immediate needs that a deceiver will never lack victims. You want the comforting story. Betrayal is a sudden storm, a freak accident, a lightning bolt that splits the sky without warning. But the painful truth is colder. Betrayal is a campaign. It is mapped at a kitchen table, rehearsed in car rides, advanced in tiny, tidy steps. People betray when it is safer than loyalty, more profitable than virtue, or more pleasing than restraint. They do not need to be monsters to do it. They only need an opening. So hear it plainly. In love, business, or friendship, the pivot is not mystery, it is arithmetic. When the risk of staying loyal outweighs the reward, the cut comes. When envy burns hotter than gratitude, the cut comes. When fear whispers that your rise threatens their seat, the cut comes. This is not cynicism, it is navigation. You do not curse the rocks beneath the surface, you mark them on the map and steer. Trust, then, is not a dream you fall into. Trust is coin. You spend it to buy time, access, and ease. Every warm share of your calendar, every password, every unguarded detail, each is payment. The more you pay, the more tempting the purse becomes to misers and thieves. Hand a key to a stranger, and you have not just opened a door, you have announced that your house has velvet carpets and a quiet back gate. Leave that gate unguarded, and you have not simply shown faith, you have drafted an invitation in neat handwriting. Picture the workplace. You grant edit rights to move fast, you skip the double check to be a team player. You speak freely because we're family here. Coin spent. Soon the file you crafted becomes a meeting you are not in. Your idea wears another person's name tag. The gate was lovely. It did not squeak. It also did not lock. Picture love. You share your worst memory to prove devotion. You make room in your schedule, then in your mind, then in your finances. Coin spent. If the other person holds a hunger for status or rescue, your generosity becomes leverage. Not today, not tomorrow, but the day their fear outweighs their affection. They will tell themselves a simple story, survival first, explanation later. The key in their pocket is no longer a symbol, it is a tool. And now to the fear you feel, even if you do not name it. The text thread growing quiet, messages that answer every third question, but dodge the crucial one. The way they smile too brightly when someone mentions your success, then change the subject before your name finishes echoing. The sudden kindness that arrives like a bouquet on a day you did not win anything. You call it mood, you call it stress, you tell yourself they are tired, busy, overloaded. It is consoling to believe that drift is just weather, but often these are maneuvers. Silence is a screen to move behind. Vague words are fog to mask the road. Sudden kindness is a cushion to soften the push. In group chats, quick call appears more often, and you are not on it. Coffee runs multiply without you. Documents are in progress, but never in your inbox. A partner starts checking in with your boss more than with you. A friend who used to rant with you now defends the person who slighted you. They didn't mean it, you're misreading it. This is not paranoia talking, this is pattern recognition. If the patterns cluster, the campaign has begun. You are not helpless in this. You are not required to panic or to plead. You are required to see, to treat trust as the currency it is, to spend it with eyes open and books balanced, to ask, what do they gain by staying loyal to me? What do they risk? What have I handed them that can be turned against me? What gate have I left beautiful but unguarded? Do not apologize for being kind. Do not apologize for hoping, but stop apologizing for vigilance. It is not unloving to lock your door. It is unwise to leave it open to prove a point. The betrayer prefers you sentimental. The strategist prefers you awake. Love widely, guard wisely. Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are. You want to believe goodness is armor. You want to believe a clean heart makes you untouchable. But politics does not stop at the office or the bedroom. Life runs on ledgers. Even when the paper is perfumed, illusions feel kind. They are also expensive. Today we strip them off one by one. First illusion, I'm kind, so I'm safe. Kindness is good. It oils the hinges of daily life. But opportunists study the oiled hinge, not the door. They mirror your softness until the moment it is useful to harden. In meetings, they echo your idea with tender praise, then ask for just a moment with the manager. In love, they agree with every boundary until a better room opens down the hall. The shield of kindness becomes a bright target because generous people document poorly, forgive fast, and hand out access they have not earned. Watch how it plays out. You share your calendar to make things easy. They move the key call to an hour that keeps you out, then thank you for being flexible. Your softness was mirrored, then converted into access, then into advantage. Or you send a friend your draft to polish. It returns smoother, and your name is smaller. This is not an order to harden into stone. It is a demand to add bones to your kindness so it stands upright. Be warm and specific. Share files, not keys. Praise in public, confirm in writing. Keep your promises and keep your proof. When generosity comes with structure, it stops being a gift shop for thieves and becomes a policy for adults. Second illusion, time equals trust. Not exactly. Time creates routine, and routine can lower the drawbridge without checking the flags. A fortress that is never inspected becomes a museum of confidence. The walls look strong because no one has asked them to carry weight. Years of friendship, years of work, years of marriage, these can breed entitlement as easily as loyalty. When someone long by your side feels undercredited or over-controlled, they start to bargain with their conscience. After all this time, don't I deserve more? See the couple together since college. The story is long. The maintenance is light. One partner quietly resents money decisions. The other shrugs. We've always survived. No audits, no clear roles. A late message from a work friend becomes a routine and then a justification. Or see the team that has always shipped. Deadlines slide because the name is strong. Credit slides because habits feel safe. When the inspection finally comes, the rot is not new. It is simply old and ignored. So inspect, not angrily, but reliably. Put dates on promises and names next to duties. Walk the walls. Ask, what have we stopped measuring because it felt awkward? Awkward is cheaper than betrayal. Schedule standing reviews the way you schedule birthdays. Make loyalty visible, not assumed. The past is not a contract. It is only a file. Read it, do not worship it. Third illusion, love cancels power. You want to believe affection erases status, money, and fear. It does not. Love is a river that runs through the same valley where banks, ladders, and border stones already stand. It can water wheat or flood houses. In bedrooms and boardrooms, people still count. They count risk, opportunity, and face. They build ladders even when they are holding hands. In modern life, ladders are everywhere. Follower ladders, title ladders, influence ladders. A partner says, "Let me post your win from my account." It will get more reach. Sometimes it is generous. Sometimes it shifts the spotlight so the crowd learns to look at them first and you second. A friend offers to introduce you properly to a client you already know. The tone is caring. The move is custody. At home, one person handles the finances because you hate numbers, until numbers become a leash hidden in polite routines. Power unspoken does not disappear. It just changes rooms. Do not panic, calculate. Ask simple questions when the room is calm. What do we each gain? What do we each risk? Where does the ladder sit, and who climbs it when the cameras are off? If the answers are missed, slow down. If the answers are solid, proceed with gratitude and notes. Love that refuses measurement is usually asking for belief, not partnership. Partnership accepts terms and lives by them. When power is named, affection has room to breathe. When power is denied, affection becomes a stage light that blinds more than it warms. Here is the hard medicine. Appearance is a tool. Everyone manages it, even you. A clean shirt, a gentle tone, a heart emoji, these are signals. Signals are not guarantees. People protect advantage, not vows, when pressure rises. If you forget this, you will read every smile like a treaty and every history like armor. That is how you walk naked into a negotiation and call the breeze a friend. What replaces the illusions is not bitterness, but a better story. You stay kind and you add structure. You respect history and you audit it. You love truly and you keep your eyes open to ladders and ledgers. You turn trust me into trust and verify. You treat your name like currency and your boundaries like borders. You understand that peace is not a mood, it is a policy. The result is not a smaller life, it is a safer one where joy does not have to apologize for being prepared. Set down the myths, pick up your map, count what matters, then move with calm, visible strength. The right people will not be scared of your questions. They will thank you for the light. Keep your heart warm and your terms cold. Men sooner forget the death of their father than the loss of their patrimony. You want to believe people betray because they are wicked. Often they betray because they are wounded and impatient. A private fear nags them. A hunger grows teeth. A humiliation keeps its ledger open. Betrayal becomes a cure chosen in haste, a shortcut to relief or rank. When pressure climbs, character takes the shape of the wound. If you understand the wound, you can predict the move. If you ignore it, you misread the board and wonder why the knife arrived exactly where you left a gap. Start with the scarcity reflex. Scarcity is not only about money, it is about face, attention, and the feeling of being replaceable. When someone believes tomorrow will shrink their portion, they defect early to secure today. Fear of losing status makes them undercut your authority in small, deniable ways. Fear of losing resources makes them hoard information and ration access. Fear of losing position turns them from collaborator to competitor, quietly at first, then openly when the numbers look safe. You see it in the office when budgets tighten. A colleague who used to share data now answers vaguely and promises to circle back. They book meetings with your contacts to align. Then leave your name off the summary. They are not acting from mystery. They are following an emergency rule: secure oxygen for me first. You see it in relationships when attention shifts. The moment they feel your focus thinning, even for healthy reasons like new goals, they stage minor crises, pick fights to pull you back, or withdraw affection until you chase. The tactic is not romantic, it is tactical. Scarcity writes their script, and every line says, "Keep me central, whatever it costs." Don't moralize it. Map it. Ask who feels their rank slipping, whose role is undefined, who stands at a table with too many hands grabbing the same plate. People who fear tomorrow will shrink their slice, will act today to enlarge it. If you want loyalty, reduce their panic, clarify roles, tie rewards to shared outcomes. Make oxygen abundant where you can, and where you can't, make the rules visible. Hidden scarcity breeds hidden knives. Now the grievance ledger. Most people do not announce offense. They accumulate it, a joke at their expense in a meeting, credit assigned to the loudest voice, not the builder, a favor repaid with silence. Each entry seems small, but the ledger is patient. When the balance feels unfair long enough, betrayal masquerades as accounting. I am only evening the score. They call it justice. It is interest on a long-ignored debt. Watch the common scenes. You correct someone sharply on a call to meet a deadline. You apologize later and they say it's fine. It wasn't. A month later they decline to defend you when rumors start. It looks like neutrality. It is collection, or you take your partner's effort for granted during a busy season. They swallow it because they love you, then develop a secret plan, a separate bank account, a private confidant. An exit they can bless is finally choosing myself. The betrayal feels sudden to you. It was scheduled by a balance sheet you refused to read. What to do? Audit relational books like financial ones. Close the month. Ask, where did I take credit without witness? Whose pride did I bruise in public? What promises did I pay late? Praise is not a trinket. It is a deposit. Apology is not a weak gesture. It resets the numbers to zero so small slights don't compound. Set a practice, correct in private, applaud in public, document fairness. People rarely torch a house whose rooms are named and valued. They burn silent rooms first. Finally, envy's geometry. Imagine two figures in sunlight. One stands taller, and the shorter measures their own height by the other's shadow. Envy chooses subtraction because it thinks light is scarce. Proximity to success kindles sabotage more reliably than open hatred. Enemies prepare for you in front. Envy smiles beside you and files its teeth when you are not looking. See the friend who cheered your first small win. When your success multiplies, their jokes tilt, playful nicks about your brand, side eyes about selling out, soft critiques that land harder than praise. They are not arguing facts. They are negotiating distance from your sun. See the colleague who mentored you. The day your influence crosses theirs, They start framing your prudence as arrogance, your boundaries as control. They seed doubt with phrases that sound like care. Are we moving too fast to slow your ascent without drawing blame? Or the sibling who calls to keep you grounded, then posts a story that muddies your reputation while praising your hustle? The geometry is simple. Your elevation casts a longer shadow, and they fear life inside it. Handle envy without theater. Do not beg the envious to feel differently. You cannot argue geometry into changing the sun. Instead, change the angles. Reduce zero-sum signals. Share credit where it is true and strategic. Build alliances that do not hinge on one person's pride. When you must confront, be specific and calm. Name behaviors, not feelings. I notice key updates bypass me. That ends today. Then adjust access so sabotage grows expensive, and loyalty pays quickly. People follow incentives even when they dress them as principles. Behind all three motives lies the same law. The wound sets policy. Scarcity says, survive now. Grievance says, settle accounts. Envy says, reduce the other, put pressure on any of them. And betrayal appears like a remedy, fast, effective, and neatly justified. If you only moralize, you will be surprised again. If you diagnose, you can plan. You will see the early tells, the hoarded information, the balanced smile with a colder center, the memory for slights, sharper than the memory for favors. You will also notice who diffuses tension before it hardens. Those are the partners worth protecting, because they are managing their wounds, not weaponizing them. Your task is not to banish wounds, it is to govern them. Start with yourself. Where do you feel scarcity, and how do you behave when it whispers? Where does your ledger rattle, and how can you zero it without public ceremony? Where does envy tint your praise? Write the answers privately. Set rules you can live by. Speak early, not after resentment matures. Fix credit in the room, not in a memoir. Build ladders for others, so your eyes stop counting their rungs. Then govern the field. Make roles clear. Tie rewards to shared outputs. Inspect walls you have trusted too long. Keep kindness and add structure. When you do, you turn betrayal from a cure into a costly mistake. You will not prevent every defection, but you will see most of them coming, and you will be ready, not to weep, not to rage, but to act in steady daylight. Master the wound, or the wound will master your policy. Men in general judge more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel. The collapse is not thunder. It is a quiet click, the lock you trusted closing from the other side. You stand in a corridor built by your own decisions and realize some doors were never yours. The first blow is not the treachery. It is the humiliation of misreading the board. You believe the promise. In Machiavellian terms, you misread incentives, miscounted control points, and let appearances sit on the throne where interest should have ruled. You replay the meeting, their smile, your concession, the handshake that looked like a contract and was only theater. You recall the late-night vow. It's us against the world. Good line, bad math. You mapped loyalty where you should have mapped pressure. You assumed gratitude would outweigh ambition, that history would hold like stone. But board moves. Offers slide under doors. Ladders rise in halls you do not patrol. The ache you feel is not just loss. It is the sting of mispricing reality. Face this squarely. You were outplayed because someone else counted better. They tallied leverage, optics, timing. You tallied feelings. They watched who could grant favors tomorrow. You watched who was kind yesterday. Shame will try to wrap you in fog. Refuse the blanket. Translate the pain. I was naive becomes I mispriced risk. They lied to me becomes they followed their interest while my safeguards were cheap. This translation is not cruelty, it is repair. Numbers you can change, sorrows only multiply. When the cut lands, the next reflex is panic to repair face. You want to explain everything to everyone right now. You want to post, call, confront, at midnight, set a public fire that proves your heart was clean. This is how the betrayer wins twice. They set a frame that casts you as loud and messy, and your noise becomes their evidence. Slow down. The speed of your anger is the speed of your loss. You cannot outshout a script already rehearsed without first breaking the script. Strategy prefers silence before movement. Sit with the urge and disarm it like a weapon. What proof do you have? What proof do you need? Who benefits if you speak early, and who benefits if you wait? Imagine a courtroom with weak microphones. When you shout, only fragments reach the back row. Better to script, gather documents, and map decisions. At work, preserve emails, download logs, list dates and deliverables. In love, write a clear timeline, save messages, and note where words and actions diverged. Meanwhile, protect the perimeter. Change passwords without announcements. Move shared assets to neutral custody. Inform only those who maintain systems or reputations that matter. If you must speak, speak like a contract. Here are the facts. Here is the remedy I expect. Here is the date. Do not argue character. Argue terms. The betrayer wants a brawl because your performance hides their maneuver. Give them paperwork instead. Bureaucracy is boring, and boredom is where their theater dies. Then comes the temptation of martyrdom. After the wound, being right shines like a metal that might make the pain worth it. You begin to narrate your suffering as proof of moral rank. People applaud. Applause feels like power. It is not, it is a soft bed that steals your mourning. The more you dramatize, the more you trade leverage for sympathy. You stop positioning and start preaching. You forgive in public, vow into the wind, and turn your page into a sermon. Virtue becomes a prison with velvet walls. Refuse that cell. Your story is not that you were too good for this world. Your story is that you will not be cornered by it again. Practical steps restore dignity faster than elegies. At work, reassign access by function, not sentiment. Document standards and consequences. Name costs of non-compliance in neutral language and enforce without delay or drama. In love, swap slogans for agreements. Who handles finances, how decisions are made, what transparency looks like when pressure rises. Agreements beat promises. Modern life tempts you with a stage, reels, stories, threads, confessions that collect hearts by the thousand. But crowds are not courts. Crowds are weather, loud, shifting, forgetful. They cannot return what you lost. Position. Rebuild position in quiet rooms. Speak to a few decisive allies. Show, do not tell. The pattern, provide material, not mood. Allies do not need you to bleed. They need you to brief. When the brief is sharp, the room recalibrates. Even those who will not love you will learn to respect you. There will be surges when grief rises like a tide and the room smells like the promise that died. Let it pass without letting it issue orders. Assign the energy to the next move. Skill, network, structure, upgrade competence. Where their doubt grazed you, add 2 allies for every one you lost. Build redundancy where single points of failure tempted fate. What broke your identity was not only the act against you, but the parts of your life that leaned on one fragile thread. Replace fragility with design. Remember the original misread, incentives, and control points. In the aftermath, re-engineer both, tie value to results, measured by systems larger than any person's mood. Spread influence across nodes, so no single switch can black you out. Regain narrative through steady performance, not grand explanations. The world moves on schedules, not size. When outputs are clear and regular, gossip grows expensive, and silence begins to work for you rather than against you. You may feel a coldness growing. Let it be clarity, not cruelty. Do not become a mirror of the one who harmed you. That gives them authorship of your character. Become the architect who learned from a collapse and now builds for wind. Keep the parts that make life human. Warmth, humor, welcome, and weld them to guardrails. People will say you have changed. They are right. You have changed from glass to tempered glass. You still let in light. You do not shatter when tapped. Here is the final turn. The identity that broke was never the whole of you. It was an arrangement of roles, a stack of assumptions, a costume you wore to move through friendly rooms. Now you will dress for weather. Treat trust as a policy, not a poem. Measure first, then believe. The fee. When required, the quiet person who has the documents printed and the signatures dated. Revenge is noisy and small. Restoration is quiet and vast. Turn the key yourself and own the door you enter. Less drama, more leverage. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. You have been telling yourself a tragic romance with the wrong title. You call it Love Ruined. You watch the scenes again and again, searching for the moment the flower wilted. Stop the film, rename it. This was not love collapsing. This was interests revealing themselves when pressure rose. They never loved me is a foggy sentence that makes you small and helpless. Clear the air, their incentives changed. They saw a different ladder, a safer harbor, a faster route to relief or rank. They chose it, not because you are unlovable, not because fate is cursed, but because the math of their life recalculated. Say it out loud so your nervous system hears it. Their incentives changed. The words are plain and dry like a ledger. They carry no thunder, and that is the point. Thunder keeps you still. Ledgers let you move. In work, the incentive might have been credit, promotion, or political cover. In love, it might have been status, money, certainty, or distance from their own shame. When the price of staying rose above the price of leaving, they paid the cheaper bill. It stings because you were paying in feeling, while they were paying in outcomes. This is not a verdict on your heart, it is a lesson for your policy. Now redefine loyalty. Not as a poem, as a function you can test. Loyalty equals alignment, plus fear of loss, plus shared gain. Write it where you keep your plans. Alignment means our goals point in the same direction. We win by walking together. Fear of loss means there is a cost to cutting the rope. Reputation, access, stability, that gives pause when impatience tempts. Shared gain means both parties feel tangible benefit inside the partnership, not only in speeches about us. Remove one variable, and loyalty thins. Remove two, and it cracks. Remove all three, and what you have is nostalgia pretending to be security. Test the formula on real life. A teammate loves brainstorming with you, but their next promotion depends on a different boss. Alignment fades. Fear of loss is low, shared gain is weak. Expect drift. Adjust early, build direct value with the decision maker, not only with the friend, or a partner adores your warmth, but resents your schedule. They feel unseen when you pursue your goals. Alignment blurs, shared gain is uneven. If fear of loss is also light, no shared assets, no public story, no family ties. The bond rests on hope alone. Hope is beautiful. It is also soft. To keep the bond, change the structure so incentives become visible and mutual, or accept that the tide will carry them out. This formula does not make you cold. It makes you clear. You can keep tenderness and add measurement. You can love and still ask, what keeps us aligned? What makes betrayal costly? Not as a threat, but as a simple consequence. What value do we create that neither of us can create as well alone? When you can answer these, your confidence stops relying on mood and starts standing on design. Now re-aim the story from I was wronged to I was warned. The warning is gold. It maps your blind side. Someone showed you where your policy was thin. They revealed which gates were lovely but unguarded, which promises were loud but unenforceable, which roles were vague enough to host resentment. You can waste months trying to win the past, or you can spend weeks rebuilding the present. Choose weeks. Choose tools over tears. Take a business example. You shared the strategy deck early to build trust. It got shopped without you. The old story, I was wronged. The new story, I was warned that my access rules were sloppy and my credit policy was verbal, not written. So you standardize the pipeline, watermark drafts, align legal with delivery dates, and make contribution logs visible. You do not rant. You revise. In 3 months, your name travels with your work as a matter of system, not as a favor. Take a personal example. You loved with open doors and open tabs. They left without a conversation. The old story, I was not enough. The new story, I was warned that we never agreed on roles, money, boundaries, or pressure rules. So you draft a simple charter for future partnerships. What we share, how we decide, how we report stress, how we separate if needed with dignity. You do not harden into ice. You become clear water in a strong glass. The moment you shift from grievance to governance, the drowning stops. You stop asking, how could they? And start asking, where was my structure? You stop performing pain for crowds and start performing competence for yourself. You stop idealizing loyalty as a feeling and start engineering it as an outcome. People will call this cynical. It is not, it is how you protect tenderness so it can breathe. Rules protect roses, contracts protect kindness, clear terms protect peace. And you do not need to be feared in the brutal sense. You need to be costly to betray and rewarding to keep. That is the modern translation of the old line. When your presence brings value and your departure removes it. When your standards are public and your consequences predictable. When your record is neat and your allies are real. People think twice before they cut the rope. Some will still cut. Let them. They will drift into a market that prices their choices accurately. You will remain inside a structure you respect. So close the old script. Rename the event so your hands are free. Redefine loyalty so your mind is steady. Re-aim the story so your next move is clean. You are not here to win yesterday. You are here to write a better contract with today. Less romance, clearer terms. Move like a diplomat. Think like a general. Act like a treasurer. Calm, precise, accountable. You want strength without cruelty and decency, without naivety. That balance is not poetry, it is policy. You meet the shadow not by confessing to it, but by governing it. First in others, then in yourself. Strategy begins with signs. See them early, and you will not be surprised when the knife looks for the seam. First, the 5 early signals of betrayal. Sudden performative praise. Compliments arrive too sweet, too late, or too public. After months of plain speech, they call you visionary, right as budgets move off your desk. The syrup is cover, while you bask, resources walk away. Praise is not proof, timing is. Information dams. Updates slow, details blur, access narrows to need to know, and somehow you never need to know. Files switch to view only, threads split without you. Water that won't run is being hoarded. Side channel alliances. Quick chats multiply without you. People arrive already aligned and explain it as convenience. In romance, a friend suddenly knows your private arguments. Side channels are railroads. They move freight where the road is watched. Resource reallocation. Time, money, and attention drift elsewhere without a declared plan. Your projects run on fumes while another initiative glows. People worship what they schedule. Track calendars, not compliments. Moral inversion. Your prudence is framed as cruelty. Your boundaries are called control. They make your defenses the crime, and their defection the rescue. Never trade structure for an apology. When these signals cluster, you do not accuse, you prepare. Stabilize the fortress quietly. Start with accounts. Audit permissions. Rotate keys. Archive the state of play. Pull logs to know what is real. If you share devices or finances, separate essentials under neutral rules. Move from trust me to trust and verify. Protect documents. Watermark drafts. Version control decisions. Lock the source behind stable access, then publish on a predictable schedule so theft has nothing to claim but its own lateness. If a file must travel, send it through channels that remember. Secure allies. Not a crowd, 3 to 5 decisive people whose signatures alter outcomes. Brief with facts, not feelings. Give the minimum proof and the next clean action. Build a quorum, not a choir. Control the narrative without performing it. Write a short, neutral statement of reality. Dates, decisions, responsibilities. Share it only with those who must act on it. Gossip is a bonfire. Policy is a blueprint. Relocate single points of failure. If one person can freeze your account, divide authority. If one platform holds your audience, diversify. If one client keeps your lights on, open 2 more doors. Redundancy turns sabotage into inconvenience. And move your heart. Keep it open to life but closed to interruption. Take the hour you would spend rehearsing grievances and invest it in skill, learn a tool, call a mentor, strengthen what makes you hard to replace. The fortress is not only stone, it is competence. Now set the price of disloyalty. Not with rage. With a tariff table everyone can read. Predictable consequences are kinder than moods and sharper than threats. Define standards and timelines where work happens. We publish Fridays with sources cited, miss twice without notice, and the task moves. Say it once clearly in writing, then enforce quietly. Predictability builds trust with the fair and fear with the opportunist. Make consequences proportionate and immediate. Delay turns rules into rumors. If a partner breaks a financial term, the account pauses automatically and resumes upon correction, with a documented fee for the extra work created. No anger, no theater, just maintenance. Price access. Access to you is valuable. Treat it that way. Office hours for decisions, boundaries for weekends, response windows that match the weight of the request. When the gate has hours, commerce improves inside the walls. Publish credit like currency, contribution logs, change histories, clear authorship. Honest credit is not vanity. It is security. When the market can see who builds, theft grows expensive and borrowing grows polite. Protect reputation with receipts, not rants. Keep a living dossier. Agreements, deliverables, outcomes. When challenged, offer the file, not a monologue. The moment you can point, you don't need to point fingers. Do the same at home. Agreements, not vibes. Who handles which bills, how decisions are made, what breaks trust, and how we repair it. Write it down when the room is warm, so you will not negotiate in a storm. Love grows in structure the way vines grow on trellises. Understand the reputation you are building. Fair, fast, firm. Fair means terms apply to friends and strangers. Fast means you answer clearly and keep the clock visible. Firm means once a boundary is named, it holds. This mix deters betrayal because it removes the profits. No soft exceptions to exploit. No delays to hide inside. No fuzzy lines to blur. And still be decent. Generosity with a spine is a force. Greet people by name. Share credit promptly. Pay on time. Send the extra paragraph that makes a partner look brilliant in their room. When you are both decent and defended, good people thrive and schemers fail quickly. In the end, power is not a snarl. It is a schedule. It is documentation ready before anyone asks. It is a calm inbox because expectations are clear. It is a quiet meeting where allies nod because the plan is printed and signatures are real. You do not need to terrify anyone. You only need to make disloyalty the expensive option and loyalty the obvious bargain. Hold a calm posture. Before every reply, count your breath and check the ledger. What do I know? What do I suspect? What can I prove? Answer only with the first and act only on the third. Let silence do part of the work. It invites truth to over-explain and hasty hands to reveal themselves. Stillness is not weakness. It is surveillance with manners. Meet your shadow by governing it. Name your fears and turn them into checklists. Name your hopes and frame them as agreements. When signs appear, you are already in motion. When pressure rises, your systems take the first punch. When a defector tests the fence, they learn two things fast. You are kind and you are closed to exploitation. Be warm in tone, cold in terms. Peace is not the absence of danger. Peace is the presence of design. You do not have to live in a permanent alert, sleeping with your hand on the alarm. You build a life where alarms are rare because agreements are real. Peace by design begins with roles, measured gains, and regular audits. It starts simple: who does what, by when, with what resources. You pull the soft fog out of the room and replace it with lines on paper. In a friendship, that means clear rhythms, check-ins you can count on. Money boundaries that respect both sides, plans that do not depend on last-minute heroics. In a business, it means scopes, deadlines, and change logs that stop the he said, she said before it begins. You do not ask memory to guard your interests. You assign that job to systems. Measurable gains make the air clean. We feel good becomes we ship this, we earned that, we learned this. When everyone can point to the win, suspicion shrinks. Audits are not insults, they are tune-ups. Once a month you look at the work and the relationship. You ask what frayed, what worked, what must be retired. You fix while the engine runs, instead of waiting for fire. It is not romantic, but it is kind. People relax when rules hold. The design extends to conflict. You pre-write the playbook. If missed expectations become a pattern, here is the path. One private correction, one written agreement, one measured consequence. Calm, predictable, boring. Boring saves both hearts and budgets. You move your life from mood to method. That is how peace holds in weather. Then comes the reputation dividend. Character is not a speech. It is a policy the city knows. When your name means fairness and firmness, reliable partners find you first. They prefer your rooms because the lights work and the exits are marked. Opportunists keep walking because your prices are posted and exceptions are rare. The market sorts itself in your favor. Fairness is visible. You give credit loudly and blame carefully. You pay on time and correct in private. You do not make people guess your temperature. Firmness is also visible. You keep terms even when it hurts a little, and you enforce them even when it is awkward. You do not weaponize chaos, you shrink it. Over time, this consistency compounds. A quiet line forms at your door. Teammates who want to build, clients who plan long, friends who prefer clear talk to flattery. That line is wealth. Your reputation also protects you when a rumor tries to run, because you keep receipts without drama. A simple file ends the story, because you have shown mercy without surrender. Your no lands as a boundary, not a tantrum. In the long arc, being known as fair and firm is more profitable than being known as charming and vague. Charming attracts crowds. Fair and firm build coalitions. Now the final vow. You do not abandon kindness to keep your guard. You keep both. You let your eyes stay open and your hands stay clean. You open the door to new people, but you place the valuables where only agreements can reach. You forgive, but you do not reset the terms secretly. You assume goodwill and you verify. You give second chances, not infinite ones. When someone shows you who they are under pressure, you update the file, not your fantasies. You also respect your limits. You cannot make others honorable. You can make dishonor expensive. You cannot end betrayal in the world. You can make it rare in your world. Choose rooms where incentives align. Choose partners who like clear maps. Choose projects that reward discipline more than charm. When your choices point in the same direction, peace is not fragile, it becomes the default. Imagine a year from now. Your circle is smaller but steadier. Your work product speaks before you do. Your evenings are quieter because you are not cleaning up preventable fires. The people near you know how to win with you and how to disagree with you. The city understands your storefront. Prices listed, quality consistent, returns handled with respect. That is peace, not a dream, but a structure built one firm kindness at a time. Carry this with you, not a sword raised high, a blueprint folded in the jacket. You will be surprised how many storms pass around a house that was measured before it was painted. Love widely, guard wisely.